Hello, coaches. The last time we met, we combined two Managing Matters sessions into a single meeting. This approach made sense since it covers two core processes around people. First, how to manage performance when corrective action is required, and second, about talent. How do we find, hire, onboard, and retain our team? We continue to build from the prior sessions. We reinforce the application of the GROW model and the 5 C's and the 4 coaching conversations. And together, we are going to master these conversations around performance, development, career, and change. The performance conversation we covered was in our last session. But in this session, we expanded to address what to do when coaching is not enough to solve the performance issue. We discussed the 7 steps of just cause. This is an extremely helpful framework to think about corrective action and progressive discipline. There are 3 tools from HR that managers use to address these concerns. There's formal coaching using the GROW model. The second tool is what's called the Employee Performance Notification, sometimes referred to as an EPN. It's the formal employee discipline process to document progressive discipline. The employee and the manager sign off on the form, and HR works with the manager to make sure that the language is clear, and this helps us in managing employment risk. The final tool is what's called a performance improvement plan, which is used primarily for professional or management roles at the company. The way to think about development is often focused on the one thing that holds us back from achieving our potential. It is more future focused or a potential derailer that needs to be addressed now. And there are many ways to think about development. It could be to build a specific skill, create a job experience, build in depth of an understanding. You could choose to work on a strength that could create more impact, or it could focus on one of your weaknesses, or something that's going to show up in your future performance. Finally, development could be working on a potential career goal or another role in the company. The third conversation we covered was career. Of the 4 coaching conversations, this is the powerful retention tool that we all have, but rarely use. The 4 points to remember when you're thinking about a career conversation, first is career ownership. The responsibility has shifted from the manager to the employee. It is still a shared responsibility, but the manager needs to set the table about how to facilitate that ongoing conversations. And there are tools we have and have shared with you to make it go easier. And second, the career conversations starts with 5 basic questions. What are my strengths in my areas of development? What's my brand and reputation so when there's an opening, do they think of me? Do I understand the business and the industry and where it's going so I'm ready? And finally, ask these questions about what do I really want to do and how does it align with my personal life? And finally, what's my plan? And the third consideration on this career is there are many different ways to grow. You can grow in your current role. The idea of only options is up, that's gone. There are 6 different ways to grow in our company. And it all ties back to how we think about career development and taking advantage of the many resources that are available in our company. Following the career conversation, we focused on the second core people process. It's about talent. How do we find, hire, and onboard and retain our team? We started to talk about retention, and the topic of employee retention has gained center stage today. We can fill jobs, but we won't be successful unless we also train and engage and retain the team. We looked at several aspects of retention. The research shows that managers and employees have very different ideas about why people leave. More than 85% of managers believe employees leave because they're pulled away for better pay or a new opportunity. Employees see it very differently. More than 80% of them say they were internally pushed out by factors like poor management or a toxic culture that drove them out of the organization. Turnover is so expensive. It's about a third of an employee's annual salary. And that's why we have programs and practices in place, including the 90-day review and stay interviews. And this is the chance for you to really focus on how you onboard people. We also did a deep dive about the actual hiring process. How do we find and hire the best? It started with an overview about how to conduct an interview. We also shared the interview guide that a manager can use to ask better questions that help you actually determine who's the best candidate. We also reviewed interviewing best practices, what to include and what to never say, how to close the door when an interviewer says something that might raise a red flag, and you close the door immediately. We only make decisions on hiring the most qualified individual. The next time we meet, we will cover the content in session 8 and 9. We will focus on what it takes to lead a team, how to apply what you know now to run your business, what are your metrics, what are the routines you build, how do you communicate, and how do you create that culture that makes you successful. We will have a clear picture of what it takes to become a more sustainable leader in your branch. And we will cover the final conversation of the 4 coaching conversations, how to have a change management conversation. So come prepared next time. And come prepared means that you have had a coaching session and you have the pre-call and the post-call work done. That coaching plan is important. And then finally, make sure that you read through the 4 coaching conversations around the change conversation, because we'll make sure we get that covered. If you have any questions, there's a lot here. Reach out and we'll help you in any way we can. Feel free to call me directly. You matter, so managing matters, and thanks for what you're doing. We're almost getting to the end line. Thanks so much. Have a great day.